So thank you all for giving us your time and attention this morning. Really appreciate it. Or for some of you, it may be afternoon, evening. I'm going to hand it over to Elizabeth Rosso, but let me introduce her because she's probably too modest to say the things I'll say about her. She's a longtime Snowflake data engineer, and actually a longtime Snowflake advocate. She's spoken often and loudly about some of the wonderful capabilities and advantages of using Snowflake. And for that, she's earned the title of Snowflake Data Superhero, one of only about 25 in all of North America. And she's also held that title for, is it 4 years now or 3 years? At least three.
Oh gosh. I think this is my third year.
Okay, which is
Yeah.
also quite unique. A lot of people roll on and roll off the
Mm.
program, but Elizabeth's been a constant in the Snowflake Data Superhero program. So I'll let her take us through the Cortex lab. Thank you, Elizabeth.
So you are
Thanks,
telling
David.
us she is a super snow woman.
I am. So I'm curious because I haven't met you all, like what your experience is with Snowflake and what you kind of hope to get out of this workshop today. Does anybody want to volunteer? I just
Yeah,
don't
I'll
know if you're like
volunteer
really
for that.
familiar with
So
Snowflake or
yeah,
what.
yeah. So we're a team of Snowflake newbies.
Okay.
So we are just dipping our toes into Snowflake. Well, what I'm hoping that the team gets out of this today are the inherent capabilities within Snowflake. So, industrially, you kind of think of Snowflake as a, cloud database platform. Right now, I know that there's more to it than that. And so this is part of an education process that I'm working with my team to build that out for them.
Yeah, definitely. And the things that we're looking at today are pretty new. So it's true that Snowflake has been a data platform, a cloud data platform, but they're really interested in the AI space, just like everyone else, right? Like all the Microsoft and, you know, Tableau and who else? Salesforce, they're all interested in AI, right? They want your business in the AI space. So anyway, so this is all new stuff that we're going to be going over. It's pretty cool. Um, okay, so I'm going to start you off. I'll share my screen and I just want to know, do people, did anyone get a chance to create their trial account in Snowflake?
So, like a year and a half back, I did created my account. It was my personal account. Later on, I created account from using my official account as well. And then we have done some proof of concepts, and we have played with snow pipes and things like that. So I would say I have some basic idea.
Okay, but for this lab, you need to create a trial account.
Okay, yeah, but I haven't done that.
Okay, so let's do that now. Everyone should do this. Sign up at snowflake.com. Um, I'll I'll walk you through it. There's just a couple things you need to be aware of. If you have signed up for an account before, don't worry about it. Do it again. If it expires, do it again. There's no limit to how many you can create, and you can keep using the same email address. So someone walked up to me in Boston and said, I've been creating new emails so I can create new trial accounts. And he has like a dozen email addresses now. And I said, you don't have to do that anymore. So what you do is you just enter your information and it says company email, but I'm using my personal email. And what you want to do, it's important that you choose enterprise and AWS. And then we'll go to the west region of the US, if that's okay. Just because we know that everything's available in the US West. So even if you have like a work account, I would recommend that you do this for your workshop.
It's US West, right?
Yes, please.
Oregon. Okay, got it.
Can everyone see my screen? So enterprise is important, AWS is important, and US West. And then what it's going to do is send you an email. So it basically like spins up a new instance for you, and you'll have a new, I'm just going to skip through all this. I will create a username and password for this instance. So it'll be in your email. Is everyone
I have activated my account.
okay? All right, let me bring back.
Yep, I'm activated too.
Okay. Okay. So from there, you want to go to the quick start. And the quick start is called Customer Review Analytics using Snowflake Cortex. I probably can paste this, but if you are looking for it, you can also find it here in quickstarts.snowflake.com.
It's even before that, it's asking me sample data set, load data into Snowflake. Oh, skip for now. Okay, got it.
Mine still shows setting up your account. I didn't think it would take this long.
Mm.
My landing page looks a little different. I landed on a app.snowflake.com. Maybe
Yeah, that's good. That's where you want to be.
See home, search projects, data products.
Okay, let me catch up to you. Wait. Oh, 1 second. Okay. This is called Snowsite. It's the interface in Snowflake, right? It's everyone here looking at Snowsite.
yes, I am also on the same page.
Okay. So, right. So what you want to do is go to the quick start once you're logged into Snowflake. You can see here my projects, my worksheets, my notebooks, Streamlets, and dashboards, right?
Yeah.
And if you click on the Snowflake icon on the top left,
Mm-hmm.
It brings you back here, I guess, to home. Anyway, so your Snowflake Quick Start is customer review analytics using Snowflake Cortex. From quickstarts.snowflake.com.
Quick start. Let's navigate to quick start then.
Okay. It's quickstarts.snowflake.com.
Reviews. Customer reviews using Snowflake Cortex. And we click on the start button, right?
If you click on that square, it'll bring this up.
Yep.
Okay. So from here, it gives you the overview. It suggests that you're familiar with Python, but it's not necessary because it gives you the code and you can work your way through it. It does, so you need a Snowflake account and you need Snowflake enabled, but this is in general audience now. It was in private preview when they wrote this, so that's why it's also very new. And what we're going to learn today is how to translate multilingual customer reviews, how to categorize unstructured review text data at scale, how to get rating from review, how to get intent from customer reviews, how to drive sentiment, and get issues from identify issues that our customers are having. So what we're going to do is basically we're going to download a notebook and run through it and see some graphs, and it'll eventually at the end create an email with the issues that we're seeing. So the first thing we do is just copy everything from setting up the data in Snowflake. You can just grab this and copy it and bring it over to Snowflake. And you want to create a new SQL worksheet. And you can paste it. Oh, that looks cute. You can paste it right. In there, and if you want to name it for future reference, I already did this once and I called it setup data. You have to let me know when you're ready to move forward. So what this does is it creates your there's a lot happening in the script actually. It creates the data in the raw schema, and it creates the table and the warehouse and the schema, and then it creates a file format and creates a stage where you actually will be importing the data from into your tables from this stage you've created.
Okay, so what we did is we copied that SQL. We came here and we choose a SQL sheet and we pasted that here, right?
And then run all. There's a drop-down arrow and say run all.
Yeah, I did the run all.
Okay. So if you've seen Snowflake or if you've read up about Snowflake, the stages are really important. What it does is it brings data over from an S3 bucket into your stage and loads your tables. So once you've run the script, you have your data available in your tables.
Yeah, data is actually now in Snowflake itself.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And just kind of keep in mind you're using the sysadmin user. You're in their new Tasty Bytes, I want to say voice of customer database. And the schema is analytics. So that's what we'll be using going forward is Tasty Bites VOC analytics schema.
Right.
We
So
have
for
our,
me, it
yeah,
says account admin instead of sysadmin.
it does.
Yeah. I mean, on the top center where it says sysadmin, for me, it says account
And you
admin.
ran, I'm sorry, but did you pick run all?
Yes, I did run all.
Do you have this line use role sysadmin?
Let me go. Yes, it says use role sysadmin. Yep.
So that should change this.
Yeah, but it did not.
Well,
It-
you can run it again. If you want to do run all, it won't like hurt anything.
Okay, let me do a run all again. Yeah, now this time it changed.
Okay.
But now it says tasty underscore ds underscore wh already exists, but current role has no privileges on it.
What?
Did I messed it up?
I don't know what I, what? That went over my head.
I can share my screen if you want to see it.
Yeah, I mean, look, mine's running and it's not doing that, right? I'm just gonna let this finish and see if that same thing happens because uh oh gosh. So I mean maybe you created the objects under a different user
Because
because your user didn't change.
yes, because very first time when it ran with some other admin, and now I ran it again and it says that the objects do
Mm-hmm.
exist, but they exist
Yeah.
in a different name.
Okay, because you were under account admin, were you?
How about I delete the previous
I would
option?
think so. Yeah. But create place. I wonder why it didn't. It's so weird. Like you want to delete everything?
Where would I delete it?
So, so what is it complaining that already exists?
It says warehouse tasty DSWH already exists under, but not under a
Yeah,
current role and has no privileges on it.
the warehouse. I don't know if I just don't know if it's going to say that about every single thing that you've created, right? Or if it's just the warehouse.
Yeah. Because the job uh stopped halfway through, it didn't finish. What about Jimmy, you, Rajesh, Vinod, Shiraz? What is your status of queries?
No, I'm able to exactly see what
Yeah.
there in the screen. So I see that's this admin and I have the queries.
Yeah. I don't know if you want to try the command drop warehouse and then run this again and see if you can.
Exactly.
But after you do that, you probably want to try run all and see if anything else gets a complaint.
Yep.
I
Did you want to share?
I personally vote just to kind of run through it. I mean, we have everything recorded and everything too. I think it's more about the information, for
Yep.
now.
Yeah, definitely. I was hoping maybe this would be a quick fix. And we could push forward. There's not a lot of
It's also hard because I have my VDI and then I have the Zoom. I'm on my laptop right now, so I gotta go screen to screen and everything. It would just be better if we had a straight, coherent stream of thought presentation, I think. We can do all this later ourselves.
Yeah, I like that part. So if you get stuck and then we can come back. So now without doing anything and
It's
following
all
it,
sample data anyways, so
we
just
will lose the trail.
do.
Yeah.
Okay, so does anybody have questions about the data setup?
No, we just want to watch you go through everything.
Yep.
Okay. And the other thing about like going through everything, is it kind of happens pretty quickly because there's so much going on that it happens quickly.
Yeah,
So just stop me if you have questions. So the next step is going to be setting up the Snowflake notebook. There is a link here where we can download the notebook. We're going to import from that download. So if you are in step
I
3.
don't see your screen anymore,
Oh, I'm
Lynn.
sorry. I stopped sharing.
Yeah.
Thank you. 1 second. Okay. So step number 3 is setting up the Snowflake notebook. So if everyone's on this number 3 step, we can
Yep.
click on this link and download it. We actually, it brings you to GitHub, and you can go to this file, and then right here, we're going to download the raw file.
Mhm.
Yep, I did this 5 times now. Okay, so once you have the file, we're going to import it into Snowflake. And one thing we need to do once we import it, we're going to select our database name, our schema, and our warehouse that we just created. And then we're going to import these packages, okay? So, right, we need to find our notebooks right here. Does everybody see that?
yes, everything's
Okay.
right now.
Notebook, import the file. And then I have my file here. We open it, and then we can name it anything, really.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you pick the right database and the right schema, and then your warehouse. And then we'll just run on the warehouse. So create.
Cool.
So here's where it kind of gets sticky because some of these have been taking a while. Not sure why, but we're supposed to first get the packages, okay? First,
Mhm.
we need Seaborn, Matplotlib, Snowflake, Snowpark Python, and Snowflake ML Python.
Mhm.
And we get those by clicking on packages and then entering it here. So I have all them. But if you just click on that, it'll just install it quickly. So I have these here. Seaborn, Matplotlib. Snowflake, Snowpark Python. If you don't have these, it's not a big deal, but your scripts will give you errors.
Yeah.
And then you could just install them later. So the last workshop, I didn't have them installed. I ran it. I got a bunch of errors. I installed the packages and ran it again. Everything was fine. Okay, so that's everything. We wanted to run all, but we did have some issues with these taking a long time. So you can see that there's a bunch of cells, right? Is anyone familiar with notebooks, Jupyter notebooks?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay, so
Yeah.
we have, yeah, are you analysts?
we are now.
That's awesome. Okay, so you can see the cells are running here and they just light up green once they've run successfully. And if there is a failure, you would see a little red mark on the right-hand side.
Mhm.
And so in this notebook, there's a lot of like markup text. So you can see like what exactly you're doing. So if you want to run this again later or make changes, this is a good place to do it. And honestly, this is really the essence of our workshop today is this notebook. So what we're doing is we're checking how likely are customers to recommend Tasty Bites. And honestly, it depends on like what your priorities are or what you're really interested in learning, because there's a lot of data analysis happening here, but there's also a lot of Snowflake happening here. So what we do is, first thing we do is check that there are 118,000 reviews that we imported into our table. That was our step 1, right? With setup data. So you can see the data is here that we imported. So that's nice. We are importing packages. Okay, that's not that interesting. So the first data frame we're creating is just looking at the reviews. This is our data. We're not really modifying it. We're just looking at reviews from 2024. And this is what the data looks like. This is the raw data. These are the reviews that we're going to be working with. Okay.
Yep.
So the interest, yeah,
Quick,
go ahead.
quick question. What's
Yep.
the on the right panel? Like, what are those things? Getting ratings, reading.
These are the cells running. So
Oh,
you can
so
see the
okay.
green. Yeah, the green means that the cell ran successfully. And if you do see a red, it means there was a failure somewhere.
Mhm.
But this means basically we have a lot of cells to run and they're
Oh,
just,
so you ran them all at once.
I did do run all, and you can do the same. You can run them one at a time, but some of them take longer, so it's good to just run them all.
Okay. Okay.
Okay,
So
so here,
basically, as part of this exercise, just sorry about that. As part of this exercise, what we are trying to achieve from the we are trying to do the customer review on what?
yeah, yep.
Okay.
So it's really, I think the point of this lab is to really showcase the Cortex functions,
Cortex functions. Okay.
right? So there's a lot of Cortex functions that will make your job very easy, like crazy easy. So the first
So
thing
what
we're
is?
looking,
I mean,
yeah,
it's a dumb question. What is Cortex like? Snowflakes. What is Snowflake Cortex?
well, it's AI.
Okay.
But I'll show you the functions and I think it'll make sense.
It looks like we're about to get to it. I
Yeah,
can
yeah. I think
Snowflake
it'll make sense when
Cortex
you see it. You're
right
in,
there. It literally says it on the bottom of the screen.
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, right.
Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
An actual definition, that's true. So we're looking at the languages. There are 9 different languages in these reviews. So whoever wrote the reviews, say it's, Yelp or whatever, they're all different languages. And we don't mind that, right? Because we can translate them into English or any language, actually. So Snowflake Cortex is an intelligent, fully managed service that hosts and serves top-performing LLMs and vector functions, which quickly and securely process text and build AI applications contextualized with data stored in unstructured and semi-structured format. Okay, but these are the things that we're really learning about. Whoops, what I do? Complete, extract answer, summarize, sentiment, and translate. These are functions built into Cortex that we're going to be using, and those are going to help us to get stuff done today. So right here is our first time we're seeing Cortex in use. Right here, cortex.translate. So if you wanted to, you could change this to another language. We're turning this into English, right? We're taking our different reviews and turning them into English. So we have French and I don't know, Dutch and something else here. And we're just, everything's turning into English no matter what. So if you want to change this, you can say, turn this into French or something. These are the languages that, the language codes. So you could turn it all into Japanese, I guess. So so that's the first one, is translate. It doesn't matter. You don't have to tell it what language it's in. It doesn't care. Just tell it what language you want it to go to, and it'll do that for you. It happens so fast. If you blink, you'll miss it. The next one we're looking at is complete. Snowflake Cortex complete, to understand at scale based on a given customer's review what rating that customer is likely to rate. So I mean, you probably know, like working with data, that it's hard to get a number rating from a text review. And that's exactly what we're doing here. We're looking at, it doesn't give you and we'll get a number later, but it's telling you if it's okay or poor. It's basically creating this data frame column with this data. So this column doesn't exist in the data source. We're creating it in our data frame, and it's new, right? It's like new data that we're creating with cortex.complete. So that's very cool, I think. Stop me if you have any questions. I'm going to keep moving. So, and if you want to play with this later, you can show like more reviews or whatever, right? And you can always rerun a cell, right? By hitting the play button on that we're still running, but anyway,
Quick question. I
yeah,
see some data frame we are using, like, just like processing the data and the main functions, like we are covering the Cortex library, right? The Snowflake Cortex library. Okay.
yes,
Okay. That's part of LLM. Okay.
yes. Okay, so there's another
What's the,
Cortex.
what's the name of that library? We import that. It's some package we imported, right? Yeah.
I'm not sure what the question. I don't think I know
Uh,
the answer.
Okay, no problems. Yeah, I can take a look at it. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So this one's going to create using complete again, right? Let me see. Cortex complete. You know what? I kind of breezed past this, but it does this thing called one-shot learning. We provide one-shot in context learning to better the answers. So I think maybe that's something you want to maybe dive into a little more to really understand what's going on here. But you'll see that it says we provide one-shot in context learning. So this prompt right here is our prompt, and it's this text here is what we're using for that. So that's something maybe for a deeper dive, but I think that part is very interesting. And if you breeze over it, you're going to miss that also. So we do that again, that prompt to understand whether a customer would recommend a food truck based on their review, and it creates this data. So we're just defining these fields, likely, unlikely, and unsure. And then it's actually creating that data to say, does this review seem like the customer is likely or unlikely? And that data can be hard to extract without something like this. Another thing, let's see, we're going into how many. Okay, so this is where we're actually looking at the data, like really looking at the data. You see that this truck brand, Better Off Bread, is likely to be recommended by 454 customers, 454 reviews, right? So that's like maybe our best truck. But in our case, we really want to look at where the problems are. So, the packages we imported earlier, we're using this, we're creating a graph with matplotlib, and we're just looking at, I know graphs are hit or miss, right? But see this, I guess you're looking at really eyesores, really like big problems. So when you look at the red, it means unlikely to recommend. Green is likely to recommend. And what we want to do in this case is fix any problems that we're having, right? Where are the big problems and how can we fix those? So in this case, we're seeing that Kitakata ramen bar is having some problems. They're getting a lot of unlikely to recommend reviews, like a lot. So we're going to drill down into that data, okay? Yeah.
Question for you. So when you say when it shows likely, what is that? How likely?
Likely to
Is it
recommend.
a little likely or very likely? Does it?
It's more like a positive or negative or neutral kind of thing.
Okay, yeah.
It's not to what degree is it likely. It's just either you're likely or you're unlikely in this case.
Yeah.
It's not a degree of likelihood. So what we want to do is really get to the bottom of that, right? So I don't know if things are bogging down at this point. Okay. Customer intent to recommend for this food truck only, right? So because of this ramen bar food truck has a high proportion of customers who are unlikely to recommend their food trucks, we dive in to see which specific trucks are a problem, because this brand has multiple trucks running around, right? So again, with the red and the green, there's this truck number 5 has a healthy portion of likely to unlikely recommend customers. Further down, we look at the reason why the customers are not likely to recommend truck 5. So this is where Cortex sentiment comes in. Cortex.sentiment, and we're trying to, okay, this is where we put a number to their sentiment. How positive or negative are they feeling about this truck? And I think we're looking specifically at truck number 5 for that ramen brand food truck. So here we're just showing 3, but a positive 1 is very likely is a positive, very positive sentiment, and a negative 1 is a very negative sentiment. So you can see there's very little code here, and we're coming out with this is a very negative review. The rack of pork ribs is a problem at this location. And what's positive is well, it's hard to read.
This sentiment function, it's already trained with the data, that model. So it's like we are
Yeah. I mean, it looks
giving
like
this
we didn't do
feedback
anything.
data, and so this sentiment is already trained with what kind of data, like training and those data.
Let's
And
take that one offline. I don't have the answer.
I'm wondering how it's giving the sentiment. Yeah, that function.
Other than magic.
When you pass, yeah, that just the review column, right? So we haven't
So
seen any training data fed into that function.
I think it must have been trained to a degree, and then I'm wondering if it can also be like just restarted, as in start from a fresh again as well.
okay, so let's keep that as like an important topic that we want to revisit.
Okay.
Exactly how the sentiment is trained. I don't have that answer, and I should have warned you, I'm not a sales engineer for Snowflake. So,
Okay.
but we can find that out. I just know that, like you said, it's just looking at this review data, and it's really just using this Cortex sentiment function and this review data. So it's not even taking advantage of the other data that we created. It's not looking at, likely, unlikely. It's not looking at any of those things. It's just looking at the review and creating the sentiment, right? So we can revisit that. So across time, I don't know how useful this is, but if you like visualizations, then it is creating a neat little graph of sentiment over time. And you can see like, well, when did we have a problem? Was it Christmas? Was it Easter? I don't know. Was it summer? Was it, when did we have the most issues for this truck, right? And that's another plot that we can do in notebooks, which I think people like. So again, we have sentiment and Cortex complete. Okay, so it's actually creating a JSON of sentiment for this particular review. So it takes a review and it chops it up into sentiment based on category. Let me go back to this. We can take our analysis a step further by looking at aspect-based sentiment. Instead of just the overall sentiment of review and understand what the customer thinks, we can do so, we understand what the customer thinks about different aspects like food quality, service, pricing, etc. Okay, so again, here we do the one-shot in context learning to inform LLM, and it's giving it these sentiments, these suggested sentiments of negative, superb. Okay, in this case, it says the negative sentiment for food quality on this review. So it's kind of training, and it does it very quickly. So when it has this review, the Italian sandwich at Better Off Bread, we can see the food quality category is negative, and these are the details. And then you can use this JSON data, right? However you want, because it's in that nice JSON format. I'm not sure how else to describe it, but does anyone?
Can you show me that Cortex, the complete? You are passing some literal values inside. So you are passing the category column, sentiment. What's that? Mistral hyphen large.
Oh, that's our LLM, and you can actually change that. I kind of breezed
That's the
past.
name of the LLM. Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
and I think that in this quick start we have some examples. If you walk through the quick start, also you'll see exactly what we're doing. This whole thing is based on the Jupyter notebook that we're doing.
Mhm.
So it kind of explains things a little bit, but it doesn't show the results of the cells
Okay.
run. But yeah, you could actually, and I think somewhere suggests, try using a different LLM and see what happens. But yeah, this is there's a lot of LLMs supported by Snowflake, like there's a long list.
Okay.
Okay. And so from there, this is what it looks like, to me and you, but this is what it looks like in the JSON form. So these are the reviews. There's 3 main issues: the food quality, unresponsive customer support, and unacceptable service. Using the sentiment we derived and complete, we aggregated the top most negative reviews and understand where the main issues are plaguing the food truck network. And yeah, using this LLM, it's telling us these are the top 3 issues: food quality issues, customer service problems, hygiene and cleanliness concerns. That's pretty serious. So get average sentiment of trucks for review. The average sentiment of trucks for review. Truck ID. Okay. That's useful for a data analyst. Most negatively reviewed truck. These are the issues with the most negatively reviewed truck: food temperature issues, food quality issues, service issues, and it just got quiet. Using the Cortex Complete again. So most of our cells here are using Cortex Complete. I think that's the most useful one, but this cell is actually going to create an email for you. So this is the last thing we're doing in this lab, is creating an email which summarizes the issues at truck 5 along with any recommendations to remedy them. So we have each category: food temperature issues, food quality concerns, service and hygiene problems, along with the overview, the recommendation. And that is using the Cortex Complete function. So, like I said, we've actually gone through the whole lab itself, down to the end where it's generate email response. And these are the things that we've covered. Embed enabled AI for analytics in minutes, powered by Snowflake Cortex, and ran inference on industry performant LLMs with Complete, which are hosted and served within Snowflake, and performed well-suited NLP tasks with Translate Sentiment, which require 0 prompt engineering. So, and maybe that answers your question. It says sentiment requires 0 prompt engineering. Leverage Snowflake Notebook, which provides SQL, Python, and Markdown cell-based development interface in Snowsites. Yeah. So I don't know. If you have questions, I might be able to answer them, or I can write them down and come back to you. David, what do you think? Do you have anything you want to go over again?
So you guys are happy just watching Elizabeth go through this? Do you feel comfortable that you guys could go through this yourselves, or could perhaps even play with this with your own data?
Yep, that
Yes.
was a great presentation.
So, and there's another one that goes along with it, that David attended, where they do Snow Site, right? Streamlit. And if you wanted to go further, you could this data that you create, you can use it in the next lab. If I can find it.
So all these everything will have the data, and we can, let's say, if we try this customer review, that LLM analytics, right? So all the other things also we can try it on our own. It's data already cooked up, and
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Yep, you can try any of these quick starts and reach out to me if you have any questions. I just wanted to find the other lab.
It's cool.
How
did you get into this this particular page? One second. It's
Quickstarts.snowflake.com.
quick start. Okay.
Quick starts, plural. Okay.
Not sure if it was already said, but was all this running on AWS?
So
machine?
AWS happens in the background when you select your Snowflake instance. When you first generate your Snowflake instance, you say, where do I physically want to store my data? And that can be AWS or Azure or Google Cloud. But once you select that, you can't change it. And you will not be like directly accessing that data. You can't go like, and there's no like backdoor way to get to your AWS data, but your data will be stored behind the scenes in AWS.
Okay. And is there documentation, like what are the raw data source formats that you can pull in?
Yes, there's a lot of documentation on that.
Okay.
Also, I
Yeah.
would recommend the Snowflake Learning. The Snowflake badges are really helpful. And if you haven't done them, they're free. And I can always tell when someone hasn't done the workshop because they'll ask like very simple questions. Even like experienced people will ask like very, very basic questions, and I can just tell that they haven't gone through the workshops. You know what I mean? But they're very easy, they're very engaging, and you can also post on LinkedIn that you've got your badge, which is also fun. So I would definitely recommend go to Snowflake badges, and there's like 5 of them. The first one teaches you all about data warehousing. It's really going to explain what is a stage and things like that. And it says 6 hours, but I don't think so. David, have you done your badges?